Howdy everybody, my name is Jacob Pace, and today I'll be presenting evaporation from contaminated water solutions. Now, before we get into the main topic, there's a couple of natural processes that we must discuss. Evaporation is the process of water gaining heat, resulting in liquids being able to disassociate with the rest of the liquid molecules and become a gas. Condensation, a change in the state of water from a gas back to a liquid, usually associated with the formation of clouds in the water cycle. Precipitation, when water falls back to the ground from the atmosphere, usually in the form of rain or snow. And runoff, the drainage of water and the things suspended in it from the surface of land to a body of water. Evaporation and condensation are the main two means for pollutants to move from these bodies of water to land to new bodies of water. Alright, the 5 most common ways for water to become contaminated. Atmospheric deposition contaminates an average of 651,428 square miles a year. Contaminants are released as a gas that bonds with water in the atmosphere and precipitates back to Earth, contaminating land or water. This relates to the condensation from the last slide. Unknown causes contaminate an average of 551,671 square miles a year. Some water contaminants cannot be traced back to one specific cause and are usually hard to identify. Agriculture contaminates an average of 208,546 square miles a year. Agriculture contaminates water due to nutrient runoff into bodies of water from over-fertilization of fields or animal waste. Natural causes of wildlife contaminate an average of 203,715 square miles a year. Storms can cause sediments and other pollutants to be picked up in runoff and contaminate the bodies of water that the runoff flows into. And unspecified non-point sources contaminate an average of 142,198 square miles a year. These are generally resulting from land runoff, precipitation, atmospheric deposition, drainage, seepage, or hydraulic modification, and is usually a combination of several of these things. Common contaminants and their sources. On the left here, I have a diagram showing some of the natural and man-made sources of these things. Carbon dioxide, commonly produced via the combustion of fossil fuels. Lead is commonly produced via mining, smelting, manufacturing, and recycling activities, and in some countries, the continued use of leaded paint, leaded gas, and leaded aviation fuel. Mercury is introduced into water by atmospheric deposition. Human-related sources primarily include coal combustion, waste incineration, industrial uses, and mining. Nitrogen, commonly in fertilizer and often introduced into bodies of water via runoff from agriculture and urban areas. And last but not least, phosphorus, commonly polluted by agriculture and natural causes. Effects of the common contaminants on the environment and people when evaporation occurs. Carbon dioxide is a greenhouse gas that directly contributes to the global increase in temperature. Carbon dioxide, along with nitrogen, causes ocean acidification, which changes the pH of the ocean gradually. Nitrogen plays a role in dead zones, developing in bodies of water due to algal blooms occurring from the introduction of nutrients such as nitrogen. Essentially what a dead zone is these nutrients will come into a body of water which will then cause the algae population to bloom, but because the algae population blooms, the oxygen content of the water decreases until the water is no longer hospitable and becomes dead. Nitrogen also plays a role in ocean acidification as mentioned earlier. Lead. In children, high levels of lead exposure can lead to neurological and brain damage, and decreases the growth and reproduction in both plants and animals when lead is contaminated into an environment. On the left here, you'll see a picture of 2 rivers. The top one is a clean, fast-flowing river with no issues. The bottom one is a river that has been contaminated from lead from a mining site. Alright, effects of the common contaminants on the environment and its people when evaporation occurs continued. Mercury. Low-level exposure is linked to learning disabilities in children and decreased reproduction rates in fish-eating animals. Essentially, as these fish are exposed to mercury that has been contaminated into this water, it builds up in their bodies, and as a predator eats these fish, that mercury builds up more and more in compounds within their body. Phosphorus plays a part in causing algal blooms that can lead to dead zones in bodies of water. Eating fish from areas that are experiencing algal blooms can cause exposure to harmful algal blooms, causing a host of health effects including skin rashes, liver and kidney damage, neurological issues, or respiratory problems. On the right here is a picture of one of these algae blooms. Alright, how to reduce evaporation from contaminated water sources. First, we need to reduce the sources of water pollution, reduce the sources of atmospheric pollution, better regulate the amount of fertilizer used in agriculture, and better regulate toxic chemicals used in fracking and mining sites. Once these chemicals reach the atmosphere, it is incredibly difficult to clean them out of the environment, so our best approach would it be to clean them out from these initial sources? And then here are my sources cited. Thank you very much for your time and have a good day.